Greetings. I hope that you can hear me. It's Vanessa-Mary. That I am live, obviously, if you can see me on the live stream, but I am actually recording this from the Loughborough area. It has been a very busy first part of my day. I've hosted a networking session, but I also had an appointment with a very special man that I wanted to keep that appointment. So we're doing today's Leading with Heart podcast from a pub in Loughborough. So if you can hear any background noise, it will be my surrounding today. Now, just to remind you that the Leading with Heart podcast is my weekly podcast, which is shining a light on the real lives behind family-owned businesses. And in each episode, I'm having an honest and heartfelt conversation where I'm looking at the personal journey, emotional challenges, and leadership lessons with those who are navigating succession. So I'm talking to leaders about legacy, well-being, business life, and family life. So this is from the kitchen table, or today from the pub. And we're not just talking about stories about the boardroom, we're looking at the breakthroughs. So Leading with Heart is a space for reflection, for resilience, and we talk about the relationships that are shaping our decisions. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Vanessa-Mary, and I am a wellbeing healer. I'm normally recording this from my home in Nottingham, but today, as I said, I'm in Loughborough. So it's now my honour to bring on today's guest, who is a fantastic accountant and business coach. I've met him through networking. His name is Andrew James Crawford, and here he is. I'm adding him onto the stage. How are you, Andrew?
I am very well, thank you. I hope that you can hear me and that all your listeners can hear.
I'm just going to do a quick check on. Oh yes, I can see something there on LinkedIn. So we're coming through on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, it looks like my connection to Facebook isn't working, but we won't worry about that right now. But we're also streaming on YouTube as well. So welcome, Andrew. Thank you so much for your time today. As I said, we've met through networking, and when we met you, obviously we're in that group. You weren't really too sure, I don't think, about our, what we were doing and everything, but you fitted in so perfectly with our networking. And I've actually been networking again today. This is the 4N community, of which you'll remember there now. So we've been doing our networking event in Loughborough. So that's why I'm in a pub. But how are you today?
I am doing fantastic, fantabulous. Keeping healthy.
Well, you're looking absolutely dapper. So I love the outfit. And obviously I did tell you as a live stream, because for some of my guests, they do check in with me and they say, is this just like a recording, or what are we doing here, Vanessa? And I say, no, we are live. So Andrew, as we spoke about in the backstage area, the format of my podcast is to really talk to my viewers around the SEEDS framework. Now, I was so honored and delighted that you joined us this year at the Seeds of Unlimited Success. So that was the second event that I hosted in Nottingham, and you exhibited with us and you were in the room. So do you want to share some feedback from that event, please?
Well, I love kind of stuff like that, like conventions and business meetings, because you're surrounded by like-minded, entrepreneurial, forward-thinking, strategic people, and you can talk business, you can talk family, you can talk personal in that environment, and knowing that it's to set it up. It's not easy to set something up like that, because you have to depend on the location, you have to depend on the actual host. Like you had a beautiful venue. That venue was fantastic. It lent itself to the actual event itself. So it was business like, not in a pub, not in a pub background.
Not doing a podcast from a pub like today.
No, I'm not talking about that.
I know.
In a church hall or village hall or something like that. It was a lovely establishment. It was great there, and it was nice. Go.
No. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was great to actually be there, and also to meet you, whose personality and character comes out like this, and it was great. I was trying to leave it as long as possible to join the network, because traditionally
it didn't work, did it?
I'm not a network.
Thank you. And I'm actually blowing kisses to the network owner, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. So yeah, we are a community, and it's quite funny because I've been in Loughborough today with a new talk that I've got, which is about the power of community, which I'll share a little bit more with you about that later. But before I do, Andrew, just give the audience, I've introduced you as an accountant and business coach, so most of us know what an accountant is. We've got a sense of business coaching, but is there anything that you wanted to add in terms of your own introduction, please?
My introduction I come from a fitness background, so fitness and accountancy just went. Your accounts have to be fit and healthy, so I mixed it with the two. I know that as a business owner, one of the things that you leave to last is the finance stuff. Why? Because to people it's boring. However, I know it's a fundamental in rolling your business forward, in growing your business, outsourcing your business. It's fundamental to learn just the basics, because some people are running something easy stuff, which is the sole trader, which is nice and simple. Then you've got your limited companies. Then you've got your CICs, which sometimes in this industry there's a lot of CICs. There's charities, and there's lots of statutory compliance goes behind each one of those structures and formats. And once you know the basics, I'll throw in a bit now. Wholly and exclusively. Once a cost is wholly and exclusively for your business, then you can claim it. That's for sole trader. If you're a limited company, there's a bit more. It's a little stricter, and they said, right, it has to be wholly, exclusively, and necessarily incurred for the purpose of your business in order to put that through. Once you've got those fundamentals, it's quite straight. I say it's straightforward to recognize what is allowable, what is disallowable for your business. In saying that, again, you'll be the best person to run your business, but you have to have an acknowledgement of what runs behind it, like your back office, your debtors, your creditors, your balance sheet, your bank, your invoicing, your keeping of the receipts. There's all those things to take care of, as well as the operational side of your business. Another thing about accountancy, I can go on and on if you want me to. Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I might just carry on, and then I'm gonna add something to that. Carry on.
Yeah. Another thing I would say is important both ways for the client, and say perhaps your accountant or your bookkeeper, whatever, is your relationship with them. If it's strained, you can have a strained relationship with your client. For instance, all my clients are fantastic, and that's taken time to build. Just like it's like a relationship over time. So they know me, and I know them. So you have to have a great relationship with whoever's doing your accounts, if you've got one, or you have to have a relationship with yourself, knowing that you're okay with the figures, or comfortable with the figures, and just looking through them. Plus, there's lots of compliance coming through next year with the MTD, which is a Making Tax Digital. That means I'll just let you quickly. That means you'll be doing 3 or 4 tax returns per year. That's if your income for this year is 50 grand plus, you'll be straight on the revenue will know already, because you'd have put your tax returns in. You have to go on an MTD, making tax digital, which means you have to do they say, oh yes, it's quarterly returns, but it's 3-4 tax returns a year. So if you
Okay,
think
so on
before, right?
Well, on that note, I'm just going to pause because I think it's fantastic, everything that you're saying there. But the note that I wrote down was about sales, and I've led it back to networking, because without getting the sales in our business, then, this is really where we as a business owner, for me, the sales and the marketing, and I've heard what you said in terms of most business owners are thinking about the the finance afterwards, because particularly when you're a micro business like I am, my focus is on the sales and marketing. So that's why I want to talk about the first S of the seeds framework. And the first S starts with support network. But actually, after speaking with you, I'm going to write down sales as well. So I want us to have a look at our conversation in regards to the support network, if that's okay. So as an accountant, I would see you as a key player within a business owner support network. Is there anything that you wanted to add in terms of well, you've touched a little bit on how you are supporting business owners, but tell us about your support network as a business owner, please.
As a business owner, the way I support people are through your mobile, which is very important because everybody's on their mobile nowadays. So I have to be on my mobile, and all the social networks, whether it be the younger people I know, they love WhatsApp, Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. And then you've got the old traditional, sorry, I shouldn't have said old. You've got the traditional people like to support through emails and letters and stuff like that. Just mostly emails. So it's to support them in answering the question. Sometimes you cannot be there all the time for them. You have to be able to juggle. You got some people. There's some people who will. You need more help than others, so you have to be there for them to support them, and others you just need maybe 1 hour, a Zoom meeting or face-to-face meeting to support them in that way as well. Yeah, so they understand what is required from you to them and from them to you, and also is understanding what the big boys want, the tax boys, the HMRC, the companies house. And so I support and accountants support their clients in understanding these elements. Plus, one of the most important things I would say that business owners want is the support in the fact that what's the best way to extract profit in the most tax efficient way. Once you can handle that, the accountant or me will be able to support you in doing that, in looking forward, looking at your cash flows, looking at your budgets, if you've got any budgets, to ensure that it's a sustainable business, it's an ongoing business, it's a profitable business that's profitable, because you might be able to, there might be plenty of turnover, but profit
exactly. And that's why I want to go to the S, and it's only just occurred to me, I think I've done about 5 or 6 of these interviews now on this series, and it never occurred to me that the S of my seeds framework actually should include sales. So as an accountant, can you give us an example of how you would support your clients to ensure that they are getting more sales into the business and turning a profit?
Sales is, again, it's subjective, isn't it? Because once you might have 2 different people. It depends what your cross. You might have a product that you sell £4 or £5, or you got product that sells £200. So this person have to sell 4, 5, 10 times, 20 times
To
as much
get
as this
that.
person with your
Yeah,
sales. So it
exactly.
depends on what your sales total is. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, is it a high turnover business? Is it a low turnover business? What are your costs for that sale? Because you might sell something at, say, £20 and it costs you £15. So your profit margin there is £5. So it's
Mm.
important for you to look at your profit margins as well as the cost to the client. Now, the client nowadays, and it's in our business as well, they're looking for the cheapest. And as you know, the cheapest is not always the best.
No,
However,
exactly.
people don't want to go down the road. Let me go down the road, and the guy down the road is cheaper than you.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel do not go into that trap, because if it's cheap, they cannot be given that quality service. Excuse me. And I've had lots in the past. I've had lots of people saying it's cheaper down the road. Years ago, I personally used to say, I want to grab please stay with it. I'll reduce my fee for you.
Mm.
But hey,
No.
that's the wrong thing. Yeah. Because they might be the worst client. They're on you all the time. They're phoning you all the time. They
Yeah.
demand more.
Energy vampires.
Yeah. So look at your prices. Look at your prices. Maybe you could hop the price up a little. If you're not looking, you got your sales and then you got your overheads, then you got your profit. If you find that your profit is quite tight, you could look at increasing the sales without, increasing the sales on some of your products. Not all of them, not all the products are the same. People look at the value of what you're giving them. So is the value that you're giving people worth the actual price that you're selling at? So those are the
Excellent.
things you have to kind
Yeah,
of
and
look
that's
at.
an excellent point, because that's what I was thinking. For some, if you are reducing your prices as well, then you're reducing your own value. We shouldn't do that. We should actually make sure that we are demonstrating the value, which comes down to the marketing messages that we're using when we're talking to people. I've written down the word networking as well, because going back to the support networking is one of my main ways. I'm trying to get cream out of it. It's not even working. Networking is I do anything on my podcast. Don't worry about it. It is a professional podcast. But anyway,
Yeah,
networking
that's all right.
is one of my main ways of getting my message out. As you know, I host events, and for me, I'm building a support network within my own network and also supporting other networks. So I'm part of 3 key networks that I'm a member of and I attend regularly. And as a member in those networks, I'm looking for opportunities within my existing circle to then make connection, like cross referring, if you like, across the networks. But no, it's very interesting what you said, because we are wanting to be profitable, but it's about that positioning of our products in terms of the price. So I feel that we could even have a whole separate chat on the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps. But what I want us to look at now is the E in the SEED framework, which is for emotional well-being. And it's interesting, you've spoken about your background. So you've come from a fitness background, and you realize that actually in terms of our finances, we want our finances to be fit as well. I want us to look at emotional well-being, first of all, from your perspective as an individual, and then we'll move on to talk about how money does impact the emotions. So, would you like to tell us directly about yourself, Andrew, and what emotional well-being means to you, please?
I feel that I like to give. If you've got enough, you can give out. So have you got enough? Are you sustainable? Are you comfortable with what you have in? Some people want more. They want more. They want more. But is more going to give you the happiness that you're seeking for? what is more and what is enough. So you have to distinguish between what, how your emotions will go if you haven't got enough compared to when you've got excess. What are you going to do with it? Are you sharing it? Are you sharing the love? If like they said, the penny, when you give it away, you get more back.
It's going to
And
come
I
back.
believe in, I believe in the giving away, and then it comes back 10 times, but from somewhere else where you're not expecting it. That's why, I like to give as well, And
Yeah.
so those are the emotions around money. I love a bit of money. I like the cash. I like knowing that I don't need to struggle. If I want something, then the money's there. There are times when it was stressful, because emotion, you can go through a stress period where where's the next money coming from? All the money's not coming in fast enough. So that's where your credit control, your credit control's there. You know the money's there, but it's not coming in fast enough. That means your credit credit terms are too wide. Let me give you a little story just before.
Interesting.
I used to have 30-day terms that put out invoice 30 days. Now, what used to happen, they used to pay in 60 days, 90 days. So that 30 days was too long. Yeah, it was 2 or 3 months. Then it went down to 14 days. Yeah? And then one day I was doing some consulting work, and an invoice from my consulting partners came on the desk, and I had a little look, and it says, "This invoice is payable as and when you receive it." And from that day, I changed my terms from, as I said, 14 to 3 days. Yeah, 3-day terms. Now I want my money quicker. Nowadays, you're doing standing orders and subscriptions and whatever, so you're getting your money on a monthly basis. So again, cash flow is very important in that scenario. Yeah.
So that's interesting because I've met a credit controller. Well, she supports small business owners with credit, and she said that actually in terms of credit terms, then that is down to yourself. So 3 days as an accountant, would you say that should more of us should be moving to 3 days?
Well, that was me personally at that point. First of all, it was 30 days. I thought that was all traditional. And then seeing that invoice, I said, wait a minute, the terms are what you want. You could have 30 days. Because when you give them 30 days, they'll pay in 45 days, 60 days. So now you're waiting twice as long. But you bring the terms down. As I said, it was 3 days that I was doing, but that was for the consultancy work. You can do it immediately, or some people take it in advance. There's nothing wrong. It's what are your terms, and how do you feel about chasing money that you don't want a credit? You don't want, if you're getting a monthly retainer, you don't need a credit controller, because and that's stressful as well. That's it, your emotions. There's times when I'm chasing money. Why am I chasing money? When the work has been done, the invoice is out, the second invoice has gone out, the chase letter has gone out. I'm chasing. That takes me away and takes my focus away from doing other work, chasing money.
And then that's having an impact on your emotional well-being. Your emotional well-being
that's taking me on.
Exactly. Wow, that's so interesting. So what we're talking about is emotional fitness within the business as a small business owner. Thank you. It looks like people have forgotten their things. Oh my gosh, look. This lady's just produced a book. I've got to phone her.
Wow.
So this is what happens when you are the last one in the venue and your colleagues who you've been networking with have forgotten their things. But so we've touched on emotional well-being. And obviously, when we're talking about money, it can be an emotional topic. So like you said, if the money's flowing, then that's all good. But actually, if you're then chasing the money, that can have an impact on our emotions as well. So I want us to talk about enterprise development, which I think links back to where we started around sales and profitability. With your hat on in your business coaching, enterprise development, what would you say to us around that particular topic, please?
I would say that you as an individual are very unique, and you have to find your uniqueness, which they can't find elsewhere. And there'll be people around you, surrounding you, or yeah, who will tune into you, and you might have something that they want or something that they need, and you can produce products and programs to suit them. Yeah, so it's being able to come up with some ideas which produces value for people, which people will want to buy from you. Yeah. So there's ways of developing either yourself as a personal development or business development or product development. There's all these things that you can actually do for you and your business. And that's where I help people. I'm full of ideas. I don't know why, but that's my gift. And I said, I'm not taking that lightly. I didn't realize it was a gift until people say, "No, I didn't think of that." And I'm saying, "Well, hold on a second. That's quite straight. If you look at this, you can look at this and look at objectively, and you can see it. But some people can't, and that's where you may be able to fill somebody's gap in, to help them move forward. So that's where I've developed the. I had it together with the tax business, accountancy, tax, and business advisory. Now I separated that part out because I realised that it was taking a lot of time, and people know it is valuable, that part there. So I split that away. So tax, accountancy, tax, business advisory, and then you've got business coaching, which is totally separate. And again, you and your listeners can do something like that as well. They can be a consultant, they can be a mentor for people who want to travel their path. So if, for instance, if you're a cobbler and there's 4 or 5 people who want to go that route, you can develop a program to help them on their journey and put in the shortcuts which you'll help them. Yeah, it's all business development. So
I love that. No, I love it. And I love the fact that you've spoken about gifts. So I've got my gifts framework where I'm actually talking to family-led business owners about the hidden gifts that are within their family business, and they're not necessarily, sometimes we're aware of it, but are we really tuning into those gifts? So for anybody who wants to know about the next session of the gifts framework, I will put a link in this particular chat. But you're correct. I mean, we all should be actually, I see myself as the enterprise. This is the vehicle. It is me, and it's about my ideas and what I can produce. And a lot of people, I feel that they actually limit themselves because they're not necessarily tuning into themselves as a consultant or as an expert within their particular field. And if they do, they don't necessarily know how to market that. So what did you want to add?
I wanted to add, like in the Bible, I don't know if you think you're religious. You don't need to be religious.
I'm spiritual. Yeah,
I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I thought I was religious, and then as you get older, I realized that I was spiritual.
We're spiritual. Yeah.
One of the stories in the Bible is about the talents. But somebody, he gave him 1 talent, and one hid it, one buried it, one
exactly
it, and the other one multiplied it. So when he came back, the one who multiplied it was given more.
Yeah.
And as I grew older, I didn't understand that story until when I was older, and it's like people are saying, "Oh, you just do one thing and one thing only," and blah blah blah. And I'm saying, why can't I do 2 or 3 things? And these 2 or 3 things are your talents. Why are people trying to suppress your talent? You can, if you have got the capacity and if you've got the talent, do your 2 or 3 things. So that's where I came out of this. Right, I'm an accountant, I do text advising, I do vision advising, and I'm a coach as well. So, and a poet. I like
And
poems. Yeah,
you've got
I write poems.
personality, and I think you're actually breaking down the stereotypes as well that people have of
Yeah,
particular professions as well. Because I do believe that we can bring our own personality into our
yeah,
particular area of expertise as well, because that's what people want to know. So for myself, I am in the well-being space, but you yourself, Andrew, are thinking, I know loads of women and men that are in the well-being space, but there's only one Vanessa-Mary, because the way how I'm doing well-being, I have put my own spin on the word well-being, and I know that my gift is a healer. So actually, I am providing the healing for the mind, the body, the soul, and for the business when it comes to families working together in business. And that's taken me a while to tune into my gifts and talents and say, well, how can I do this differently? So I definitely agree with what you're saying. So anyone who's listening, don't limit yourself. You do need
no,
to, I would say, do some soul searching around what your gifts and talents are and how you're going to position yourself. And someone like Andrew, who's got the accountancy background, can actually shape that idea and show you how you can build a profitable business. So that's brilliant. That brings me, carry on, Andrew. You look like you was going to say something.
yeah. I was going. Yeah, it's not until certain things happen in your life, somebody will. You don't recognize it yourself. Somebody else will tell you. Say, "What? My gosh, I didn't know you did that. Or I didn't know you could do that." And you go, "Wait a second. People are making a living from just doing this one thing, but you don't know it's a gift because it comes easier to you. Yeah, that
Yes.
you take it for granted. Yeah,
Granted.
so something you take for granted, but people value stuff like that. So
Yes,
you'll notice
exactly.
your gifts are.
You'll
Yeah.
notice it definitely. And that brings me to the D, which it does stand for discussion and accountability. So within my membership model that I'm building, there will be discussions and accountabilities built in along the way, but also the D stands for decisions. So again, with your knowledge as an accountant and a business coach, do you want to maybe speak to us about some of the decisions that you're noticing that small micro businesses are struggling with making, in particular during today's economy?
Um, uh, Sometimes some of the decisions the smaller ones are making is going down a path which is not profitable, thus creating losses, thus creating stress, and which emanates onto the family, then into your own emotions, and you become miserable, don't you?
Right.
And it's sometimes the business drags you down into a place that you're struggling to get back out. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all to do with decisions. What the best what is the best decision? Something that you find comfortable, something that makes you happy, something that makes, from once you're happy, everyone around you is happy. You then hook on to anyone who's positive. There's going to be, you know, another thing is your decisions about the people that you keep. Who are your close friends? Who are the people you associate with? Who are the people you're listening to? Who are the people you're talking to? These are all decisions that you have to make within your life and within your working life and in your personal life as well. There's going to
Mhm.
be people. I think you mentioned it. Vampire. Right. Here's the thing.
Energy vampires.
I always say, yeah, I always say there's three types of people who, when you meet them, you'll know which one. The first
Okay.
one is, the first one is, you're talking to them and you go away, you go, oh yeah, that was a great conversation. Yeah, see you later, and blah blah blah. That's one. Or you've got the second person who you like this, and I can't wait to get away, and you get away from this person. Oh my god, I got this person. As you ripping your head, you need some physios. Yeah, you need some therapy
Yeah.
after that. Yeah,
Therapy.
yeah, the therapy after that. Or the third person is when you finish talking to them, you go, wow, that was great talking to
Yeah,
you. That was
uplifted
great.
you. Yeah.
Uplifted. So there's three types of people. and it's down to you to decide which one and you hang around with.
Exactly.
You know, because
And who
those
you
other
are
people,
as well. Who are you showing
mm,
up as within those three different characters that you've demonstrated there? Who are
mm,
you? I love that.
who are you?
So I think we've touched on discussions with you saying that. Tell us about accountability then, Andrew. Um, like I said, this part is really about decisions, discussions, and accountability. How can small business owners, micro business owners, become more accountable to themselves and to their business in what we're doing, please?
I call this personal development. You have to. There are people who say, "Oh yeah, I know it all. I don't need to do it, in studying." But I feel that in life, it's a constant. You're learning all the time, and you can develop all the time and learn new skills all the time. And so, when you get to a point whereby you say, "Okay, let me learn this. Let me," so you're motivating yourself. You see what I mean? You've got motivation. You're going to different meetings. You're meeting a lot of different people. You're speaking with, with different people. What was your question?
I didn't want to interrupt you, but now you're making me think. What was he saying? We were talking about accountability.
So you're like, what's he talking about? So you're talking about the
We're talking about accountability.
family.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Brilliant.
You're accountable to yourself. You're accountable to your family, your wife, your children.
Mm-hmm.
Any decisions you make, again, we touched upon this earlier, that any decision that you make will impact on you, and therefore you will impact on your family. So you're accountable to them, to make sure that you are making the right decisions in the right way, which means that your business has to support you, your network, and your family, and anything that you want to, move ahead with, and your friends as well.
I think what you were saying at the beginning as well, though, was about that some people just don't want to learn anything new. They actually feel as though they know it all. And that's where I go back to the S, which is support network, because within your support network, I always feel that if you are the smartest one in that room, then you're actually in the wrong room. So really, your support network, I like to go and be around people where I feel that, yes, I want to add value to them in my way, but also if they can help me to learn and to grow by expanding my knowledge, expanding my sense of self and what I can then pour back into myself by listening. That's why I love networks where you can hear a short talk. For yourself, you're going to be doing one of those talks at the network that we go to, where I'll be there with a pen and paper, taking notes. I want to be able to, even what you've said today on today's call, be able to really bring something back. So I don't know if you wanted to expand on that at all.
I've just thought of something, and it just went out of my head when you were chatting. I'll come back to it in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I want to do is, I really want to ask you, Andrew, about that. And we've heard about your professional life, and we can hear that you've got a wealth of knowledge. You are an author as well, so we'll talk about the book shortly. But do you just want to give us an idea? Obviously, you know that I specialize in supporting family-owned business, or mums and dads in business, or even those who are in a business partnership. So they've come together to put their business, they're going to grow a business together. Do you want to give us a little background of Andrew, the family man, please?
So that's how it start. The personal stuff coming in. So
Andrew, the family man.
So here we go, nice and quick. My dad,
yay,
3 girls. Let me just rewind this one. So when I was younger, I said, be careful what you wish for. And so when I was younger, I said, when I grow up, I want to be surrounded by all girls.
Oh, by women. I want to be surrounded by women, and that's what you've got.
And hey, presto, that's what I've got. three
Oh,
daughters, one
three
wife. Yeah.
daughters.
So yeah, three
Oh,
daughters,
that's
31,
amazing.
26, and 18 years old. Yes.
Wow.
Um, um, you're looking at me
You
going,
don't.
you
Oh,
don't look
you
like
don't
a
look old enough, Andrew. You don't look old enough. Do you know what though?
Olivia.
I've just got a message on my laptop here about my battery is running low. I've sat myself
Yeah.
somewhere where I can't find a plug. I have the plug, but I can't find it. So I don't want to get cut short on this conversation. So Andrew, let's talk about succession planning. If you can tell us from your perspective as an accountant, what should we be looking to do as succession planning within our business? And I hope this battery
Well,
doesn't go.
yeah, well, let's be nice and quick then. No,
Oh no.
you know, and I know that we don't want to be working all our lives. So you need to put something away, like save something for your retirement, say, because you don't want to be working all the time. You want to enjoy your life. You want to enjoy the fruits of thy labor. Yeah. So you put in the time, you put in the effort. You want to enjoy it at the back end of your life. Start saving. You can put some savings, saving an ISA, or protecting your business, or have selling, having making sure you've put your business in a like a company where you can sell the shares. So you can sell shares in your company, so you'll get an income from that, and or putting that in a trust, and then getting money from or be a consultant or a management consultant of your company. You give your company away. You can be a consultant and get monthly fees just to be a consultant. You're not working in the business. You've already worked on it. So you're looking at the future. What can you do in the future which will not involve you being there, where you're still getting passive income from the business, from what you've actually um, concepted, implemented, and grown yourself. So we look at
Excellent.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Andrew, I found where the plug is. It's just there. It just means that I'll have
Yes.
to stand up.
Go
What I
away
want
from
us to
for a moment.
do,
Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, I'm going to put the spotlight on you. Um, before
Yeah.
we end
It'll be to
properly, I
chat.
want us to talk. Well, tell us about your book. Thank you.
Okay. While you go and go away, everybody. I don't know. I don't even know if anybody's there listening. Do you? I don't know. Right. My book. It's called From a Flicker to a Flame. Here we go. From a Flicker to a Flame. Now, this book here I wrote in 30 days, and it was part of a book writing challenge. The challenge I set, and I had about 30 to 40 people on this book writing challenge. Could write a book for a month? Obviously, because I set the challenge, I had to finish it, and I had to complete the book. So yes, I completed the book within 30 days. And this particular book is I said, From a Flicker to a Flame. It's more about motivation, where your motivation starts off. Something will start your motivation off. It's for a small little flick from a flicker. You then have to work on it. You then add fuel to it, and then next thing you know, you move into another phase of motivated, and then you put more fuel to the flame. Now you move into another phase of motivate. You're motivational, and now you can pass your motivation on to someone else without losing any from yourself. So that's what this book was about. It was about, well, you can read it. I wanted it to be read in about 2-3 hours, something like that, just, and then pick up little bits and pieces. Available
And
from Amazon.
ah,
Amazon at £13. However, if you buy it through Vanessa, I'll give it to you for tenner. Yeah, I take the money.
oh, excellent. So now I'm
Yeah.
part of his distribution. I love it. But Andrew, I said to Andrew, so this is just for the listeners here. I said to
Yes.
Andrew, I'm going to read the book because you said it's 2 hours and then we could talk about it. And
2 hours.
unfortunately,
Yes.
I've had such a busy week. I haven't had a chance to read it. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read the book and then review it. And I will do the write up in one of my weekly newsletters. So I have got the newsletter on LinkedIn. And what I can do anyway, Andrew, is take a snippet from today's interview, embed that into the newsletter and then do my review as well. So it'll work out really good, don't worry. But yeah, and again, succession planning. I do feel that when we've
I
got our
yeah,
well,
I,
when we've
I've
got
just
our
found out that
business,
yeah,
say it, carry on.
I just found out what I was going to talk about. Well, just discuss about. I mean, you were talking about networking and stuff like that. I found that an accountability. I find that I'm more in tune to talk to the women than males. I'll tell you why.
It looks like we've lost
The males
Andrew.
were talking about.
Is it my internet or his?
It's not my. I don't know if it's mine. I don't know. It might be yours. I don't know.
Was that my internet, Andrew?
Yeah, I believe.
Oh.
I believe so. I don't.
Well, carry on talking. Yeah, carry on.
The reason why, right? So I found myself when you talk with men, they talk about beer and football, rugby. I don't want to talk about those things, yeah. But with a woman, they talk about all. You can have about 100 conversations in one conversation. They talk about this, that, and they can talk about all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So I find that more interesting than beer and football because I don't drink. I think perhaps
you don't drink. Excellent. But you know what, Andrew? We've had such a lovely chat today. You've shared your knowledge with us in terms of what we can be doing, practical things we can do as business owners. I know that you're going to give us a talk within our networking community in Nottingham. That's coming up in July. So I will leave the link to that event underneath here. So if anybody is in Nottingham, I mean, I'm in Loughborough today, so maybe you could be coming from the Loughborough area, the Leicester area, you could come from Derby. Come over to that event and meet Andrew, and he will actually have copies of his book with him at the event. So he'll be giving us a special discount if we want to take away a copy of the book. And Andrew, in terms of how we're going to leave this conversation today, can you let the audience know where they can find you if they want in to speak with you directly about their accountant needs or tap into your business coaching support, or, like you said, get a copy of the book? Where can we find you, please?
The first place to find me is andrewjamescrawford.com. You can contact me through that website, andrewjamescrawford.com, and for the coaching side, I've got a site which is not finished yet, but it's called the Mad Coach, and it's the Mad MADD coach.com. Mad with a W, and MAD stands for making a decisive difference. Coach, yeah. So what are you? With all the tools and skills and experience that you've got, what are you going to give to your client? How are you going to motivate your client? How are you going to change your client? And so it's making what that decision that you make for your client with your products and services. And that's what that's about. Moving not just you but your client. So making
excellent, making a decisive difference. Decisive. Yes. You've got to get that keyword because it goes back to the decision. It's about the decisions. All these small decisions that we make every single day are going to move us either closer or further away from our overall vision and goals. So, Andrew, it's been absolutely wonderful to speak with you today. Obviously, I'm out of my comfort zone being in a pub, but I'm thinking, oh, I think I quite like it actually. So I think I'm going to make a decisive decision and actually coordinate myself and move around different areas. So if you are in a pub yourself and you want me to come to your local area with this podcast series, please do invite me, and maybe we could have a one-to-one before I do the podcast. So there you go, Andrew. That's how you get innovative and make things happen in your business. But thank you so much for your time today. I will leave the link underneath here, and obviously I'm going to see you at the next networking event as well. And you know, networking is about building relationships, nurturing relationships, and then supporting each other along the way. And you are a really, really fantastic networker who stepped into our community. So I do value your time and contribution.
Thank you, thank you. And I wasn't a network. I didn't see myself as a networker, and this is the first network I've ever joined, because it's my work has come from like word of mouth traditionally, and I became comfortable with that. Yeah, and it was just the pressure from one of my clients invite me to this meeting all the time. I said, you know what? Let me just come along and see what's going on. So it's good. That's been good.
Excellent. Brilliant. All right then, Andrew. So we'll say goodbye now to the live stream, but do please stay there and I'll say goodbye to you privately. Okay, thank you for tuning
So
in, everyone.
yeah, you had a
Oh,
few
carry on.
people on there. You had a few
Well,
people on there.
we'll,
Were they listening? Oh, you didn't. Yeah.
we'll get the people get the replay and they'll leave comments as well. So please do check in
Okay.
yourself. But thank you so much for everyone listening, and I'll be back next week with another interview. Thank you.
Thank you.